we can take these fatty acid chains and we can Frankenstein. We can manipulate it. Okay. Science, right? And we can create what are called trans fats. Well, here's the definition of trans fat down here. But when we look at fatty acids, guys and girls, they exist mostly in this format, okay? And here is the definition of what a cis fatty acid is. Let me just go to a picture here, all right? Here is a cis form of a fatty acid, okay? Monounsaturated, okay? Hydrogen atoms are on the same side, and that's what cis means. The arrangement around that carbon-carbon double bond is where the hydrogens are both on the same side. Okay, so cis form, hydrogens on the same side. Cis form, hydrogen atoms on the same side. Okay, this is how naturally occurring fatty acids exist. Trans fats is when that hydrogen atom is on the opposite side. Go back to this picture here. Trans, opposite sides of the carbon-carbon double bond. As you can kind of see, this changes the shape of it a little bit, right? Where this looks like it has a nice little bend, so we're going to have more kind of, again, branching going on. This trans looks almost close to linear. Right? And when we look at it, trans fats are going to be a heck of a lot more solid at room temperature because of that phenomenon. This takes it and flattens it out a little bit, okay? Still got my carbon-carbon double bond, but I've Frankensteined it a little bit. Trans fats are totally evil. I mean, they allow food, you know, they allow foods that they're in to not be spoiled. They can stick around for a really long time. Okay? But for the most part, because they act like a saturated fat, they're evil. Okay? They are evil. So let's just think of them as evil for right now. Okay? When it comes to, do they provide any health benefits? Nope. There's no safe levels. Okay? Artificial trans fats are even banned in the United States. And it's fantastic because the FDA notes that many foods still may have high levels of trans fats within them, even though the manufacture and utilization of them is not supposed to happen here in the United States. On their website, the FDA notes that the following, this is exactly what it says. FDA notes that the following still may have high levels of trans fat within them: crackers, cookies, cakes, frozen pies, other baked goods, snack foods, such as microwave popcorn, frozen pizza, fast food, vegetable shortening, some stick butters, coffee creamer, refrigerated dough products, such as biscuits and cinnamon rolls. Damn. But at least they're banned here in the United States, right? Sounds like we're doing a hell of a good job. Just like we're doing a really good job of not having pitchers put, you know, excess sunscreen on their hats and utilize that as a mechanism for which to grab the ball. It's illegal, but we still allow it. Baseball nonsense. Okay? Who watches baseball? I can't watch baseball anymore. It takes too damn long. All right. Eating foods rich in trans fats, sorry, squirrel, increases the amount of bad cholesterol. What's bad cholesterol? LDL. Low density lipoprotein. That's what that word means. Trust me, we're going to be talking about them a little bit further down here. Okay. But LDL is your bad cholesterol. Okay. Your low density lipoprotein cholesterol. All right. It increases that amount within the blood. That's why we've banned them. Okay. Because if we have saturated fat and then we have saturated fat in our diet and then we have a lot of trans fats in our diet, this increases it even more. as it raises the bad, it lowers the good. So it also reduces the amount of beneficial cholesterol, HDL cholesterol. Okay? And you may be asking, how the hell is HDL cholesterol good? We'll talk about it. The overconsumption or high consumption, I guess I should say, of trans fats is linked to heart disease, stroke, diabetes. Holy smokes, there's your metabolic syndrome right there. Okay, and other chronic conditions. All right, contribute to insulin resistance. They increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And it's pretty interesting. This is an article, I can't remember what year, but it is relatively recent. For every 2% of your calories from trans fats consumed daily, the risk of heart disease rises by 23%. Holy smokes. Just 2% of calories. That's really, really small to have such a huge effect on your risk for heart disease. So if you have a family history of heart disease, high blood pressure, heart attacks, angina, heart disease, those presence of those trans fatty acids, of those foods that can potentially have it within them in higher levels, can have a huge rise in the risk of you developing heart disease. If your dad had heart disease, my dad died of a heart attack. I tried to avoid a lot of these foods. Now, I mean, I'm going back here. Do I love a good cinnamon roll? Hell yeah. Do I love coffee creamer? Yes. Do I enjoy baked goods, a good cracker? Hell yeah, I do. But I mean, do I consume a huge amount of those? No, and that's what I'm talking. I'm not saying get rid of all that stuff. Okay, because again, as soon as I tell you to get rid of something in your diet, you're going to give me the bird and you're not going to do it. But consuming less, that's the key when it comes to trying to reduce some of the not so healthy stuff. See what I did there? I didn't call them bad. Okay, but that's a link to the article that talks about this kind of huge risk in heart disease by just a small percentage of 2%. 2% of your calories coming from trans fat increases that risk of heart disease an insane amount in my book. Why is trans fat a good thing? I mentioned it was good earlier. I mean, there you go. I mean, that's it right there. We can store stuff for a long period of time. It can help to slow and prevent what's called oxidation. And all that means is just a breakdown of the fat. That's all that means. Okay. Adding hydrogen atoms to vegetable oil forms trans fat. That's partial hydrogenation. Okay. And that's kind of where we see this trans fat still kind of sticking around within food. Okay, it's just partial hydrogenation. Again, raises the bad, increases risk of heart disease, but it allows stuff to sit on a shelf for a really long period of time. And when you look at it from food access type of thought, that's not a bad thing. But where do we find these things in? We find these things in a lot of stuff that don't have a huge nutritional profile. Not as healthy for you. There you go. 2015, that's when they banned all the use of this partially hydrogenated oils and all this stuff. Ban went into effect in 2018. Again, a lot of small foods naturally have them. CLA is a trans fat that's natural, conjugated linoleic acid, conjugated linoleic acid, and CLA is not a bad thing. Okay, it's actually kind of a trans fat that's actually pretty healthy for you. Naturally occurring though. Right? Trans fats are generally not naturally occurring for all intents and purposes, except for 99% of cases, we make them. All right, they're man-made. Stuff that's man-made is generally not good for you.